How are you all today? Happy Friday. This is Nicole Yvonne with Healing on the Mat, and we are up to day 6 of our chakra alignment series where we are learning what the chakras are all about. We tie it back to Christianity as our form of spiritual grounding, but it is for everyone. It is for all. This is information that can help anybody, even a non-believer. And we are just growing in this practice. So if you have been rocking with me thus far, thank you. I hope you liked, I hope you shared, I hope you subscribed and followed. And I hope that you've gotten something out of it. More importantly, I hope that you are learning and growing. And even if it's information that you already knew, I hope that it is building you and growing you, because the process of me studying and restudying and making sure that you all get the information validly has definitely done that for me. And remember that as we go through this lesson and all the other lessons and this practice in totality, it is not a race to the finish line. It is an awareness. And holding on to that awareness can be difficult depending on what life throws our way. But just know that having the awareness is the first step in the battle. And I was reminded today in listening to some others in order to prepare that we always want to arrive. I was so scared to dive into my space here because I felt like I'm not all the way grounded. I'm not Mother Earth. I'm not all the things. And to say that you are all the things is still your ego operating, because until we leave and God has perfected us, we will never be all the things. That is the point. That is the goal, the premise. It is for us to always constantly keep evolving. And so that brings us to our third eye. And this is spiritual wisdom. This is clarity. This is you bringing all the other chakras into balance and how you apply spiritual awareness in all of those other areas. And so we're going to walk through each chakra to tackle this. We're going to walk through each chakra and see the spiritual clarity that we should have when it comes to each one. So in your root, remember that is the ground. That is where we're formed. It is the bottom up. It is our start. We should have clarity to understand that we were likened in his image. We were formed and thought of before the problems in this world, before the chaos of this world. We were thought of. We might not have been here, but we were thought of. And so just like with Jesus, the lineage to his path was troubled and it was broken and it was difficult along the way, but there were many great leaders before him. There were many great people that paved the way before him. There were many great leaders and people before us that paved our way. And there may have been some idiots along the way. There were some idiots along Jesus's path, but that is to let you know that even your broken lineage is still filled with greatness, and it is up to you how you see it. You still give homage to those people that came before you. Still give grace and mercy to the people that helped pave the way toward you getting here. And so even when we look at our generations prior to us, are we holding on to some of their stuff? Probably, but we work through this practice in order to let it go and still shed light that it led to our goodness. And the more we hone in on our goodness, the more we are creating goodness for those that are to come. That takes spiritual knowledge, that takes awareness, that takes understanding that this world is something bigger than yourself. When we get to the sacral chakra, that is sexual and it is creativity. And we talked, how do you hone that sexual energy? It's not that we shouldn't have the desire, and it's not that it can't even be fulfilled at times, but it cannot be the overarching goal in life. How do you take that divine energy and craft it into something else? Well, that takes spiritual knowledge. That takes you applying your gifts. That takes you understanding that sex is more than just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That takes more than understanding, or more understanding that it should be more than just an erotic thing. Yes, that is pleasurable in your youth. And yes, that may be your path and it may be an outlet, but what else can it be used for, and what are you growing it for? If you look at women, we birth life. What are you birthing life into? Spiritually, where are you honing that energy? Where is it guiding you to? What creative outlet are you pouring it into so that you can birth new life in other people? And remember, every woman can't have a child. Every man may not be able to produce seed. So there are other ways for you to create that outlet. And, just like when they say we are the bride and the bridegroom, that is divine sexuality. That is divine connection. That is divine intercession on our lives. Spiritually, how are you using your sexual desire to be more than sex, to be more divinely useful? Your solar plexus, that is your inner being, your inner working, your ego. Remember, we talked about that. And so how do you get out of your ego? We're going to tap into that one a little more later, but I'll leave it kind of there for that one because we'll get down to that line a little later. But how do you get out of your ego? Yes, we all have an ego. Yes, it exists, which is why this is going to be a never-ending lesson. But how do you get out of it? How do you start to hone yourself to know who you are, to know how you were created, to know how divinely you should be living your life, to know what is the truth for you and how you exercise it and carry out into the world without worrying about everybody else, without worrying about the outside noise, without worrying about what your mama said and what your daddy said and even the generations before you. How do you fit? Because I truly believe that God gives us new gifts and new abilities and new talents. And it's not that there's anything different on earth, but there's all this newness that comes about in order for us to be able to operate in the way that the world is evolving, to operate in how it's changing, to operate in giving our gifts so that they are applied. I tell my son all the time, son, you are going to have to navigate a world that I didn't have to navigate. It's going to be different technology. It's going to be different nuances. It's going to be a different government. It's going to be different days and times. And yes, some of the problems will be the same, but let's be clear. Some of it will be new in its design. It will be new in its craft. It will be new forms of sin, so to speak. The problems become bigger. And so he has to learn how to navigate his world. How do you do that? And then love. Remember, with our spiritual mind, how do we operate in love? How do we operate in forgiveness? How do we operate in seeing clarity in people? How do we operate and eliminate our judgment? That's what this spiritual eye is for, us to sit high and look low, just like Jesus. No, we're not in heaven yet. No, we're not. But heaven is here on earth. Remember, I said, so we're not up there looking high with low, but we have the knowledge from up there downloaded here in order for us to see people in a different light, in a different lens. And that even leads me back to when we talk about love, our sexual connections. We should see wiser now. We should know not to make the same mistakes. We should not just be operating out of lust that leads us to problematic relationships or people that we shouldn't have been dealing with in the first place, or mistakes, even, I hate to say children out of wedlock, but that's just something that comes to my mind. And it's not downplaying that a child is a blessing or even that you had the kid out of wedlock. If you plan that and that's how you wanted it to be, then great. But we don't end up in these oops moments that we should have matured in order to know to protect ourselves from. And so love and harmony, and how do we exist spiritually with nature? How do we make sure that we're taking care of our ecosystem? How do we, as a child, we just throw trash on the ground. Now we need to recycle. We need to pick up. We need to clean. We need to make sure that we're eating cleaner. We need to make sure that we are using the purest form of things because the world around us is changing. Food isn't even the same as what it used to be. So how do we even make that better? We might have to be more disciplined in our eating practices. We might need to be more disciplined in what we consume, and we might need to be more disciplined in growing our own products, or spending just a little more money in order to have the best of the best when it comes to what we take into our system or eliminate from our system, right? And so spiritual awareness. Then we get to this throat. What are you speaking up for? We talked about that yesterday. Spiritually, how are you using this voice to eliminate the negativities in the world and shine and hone in on the positives of the world? And that doesn't mean, girlfriends talk, we have our kiki moments and all of that. But wisdom would say that we're trying to grow each other. We're trying to operate in truth. And even if that I have lost a lot of friends, and that's okay. It was with blessing. It was with peace. But I have lost a lot of friends because if we're trying to tear each other down and not build each other up, myself included, it becomes natural to just gossip sometimes. And that's where we're going to get into the ego a little later. And this is why it's a never ending thing that, we'll take gossip, for example. It becomes so instinctive to gossip when we don't mean any harm. We're all friends. We all talk. We all love each other. We all care. We're just having conversation. But at a higher level, that's problematic, right? And even if you go to the source and you can't see the truth or feel the truth or accept the truth or hear the truth, then we're not growing, right? So now I have friends that I will ask them, we have conversations. Do I do that? Call me out if I do that. Respectfully call me out, but call me out if I do that. We're not being rude about the call out. We're challenging each other. So the friendships that you keep, the circles that you keep, the connections that you keep, are they elevating you, or are they keeping you on this surface level, or are they even bringing you down? Because spiritual wisdom would say we need to have people that are growing us. We need to have people that are elevating us. We need to have people that are 10 steps ahead of us in some cases. We need to have people that are enlightened and developing themselves so that we can develop and grow cohesively together in this love and in this walk and in this uplifting state. And then we get to this third eye, which is all about the wisdom. It is all about the knowledge. It is all about being able to see what is not there. And that brings me to the scriptures for today. I got two. So the first one is Ephesians 1:18. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. That power is the same as the mighty strength he exerted when he raised Christ from the dead and seated him at his right hand in the heavenly realms, far above rule and authority, power and dominion, and every name that is invoked, not only in the present age, but also in the one to come. And so this is spiritual. This is us knowing that this is us having faith. This is us having hope that despite the chaos that is going on in this world, despite the money problems that we see, despite the wars that we see, despite the turmoil that we see, despite the brokenness that we see, despite other people's ability to step into this place where they're willing to challenge themselves to grow and evolve, we know that we are protected. We know that we are made whole. We know that everything is made new. We know that he is making sure we are all right in the midst of it all. We have the confidence that when we meditate, we drown out all that other stuff to know that we are divinely taken care of. No matter what you believe in, you are divinely taken care of. You are divinely supported. You are divinely uplifted. You might have problems and struggles, but you are divinely made. And so why would he, if he watches over every lily, every flower, every bird in the sky, how much more does he love you? You are taken care of despite the noise. But when you are stuck in this place where you're still in this world and you're still seeing things on surface level and you're still not elevating and rising above, you don't understand that. The next one is Matthew 19:22. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is dark, how great is that darkness? And I think that last part, if it is dark, how great is it? Because it was dark when I was younger. When you were a child, you do as childs do. When you grow, you mature, you start moving into adult-like things. That is the part that is the never-ending story. This ego exists. This ego is here. It's not going away. How do we hone it? How do we control it? How do we make it better? And so what I did yesterday is not what I do today. The practices of the past are not what I'm growing into in today's day and age. That is third eye wisdom. That is the clarity to understand that the phones, the messages that we receive, the music that we hear most of the time, the noise that is in our face can leave us scared. It can leave us broken. It can leave us worried. It could leave us with stress of the mind. When the third eye is not proper, we have eyesight problems, we have vision problems, but primarily we have mental problems. We have mental aches. We have stress in the mind. We can't sleep. We can't. And this is another point. I was going to make a smaller video about this. I told you all about my foot reflexology doctor. I sent somebody else to him, and I had another friend. We had conversations, and we're all we know something's off with our liver. We know that we're stressed. We know that we're waking up at the 3 a.m. hour. That is a time to be praying. That is a time to be spending time with God. That does mean that you probably are spiritually blessed. But, you know, even myself included, sometimes I get up. Sometimes I just lay there in frustration because I really just want to sleep. But that lets you know that A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is all about the ego. And it lets you know that collectively there could just be a dampering spirit or a dampering mood amongst the world in itself. So yes, we have little egoic issues. Yes, we have family egoic issues. Yes, we have female egoic issues and male egoic issues, but this seems to be a collective. We all having perimenopause at the same time. Like, this is a collective thing that should let you know the outside noise is so much greater. And sometimes it will require you to do a little more work on your own end to make sure that it's balanced. Maybe we do need to give up sugar more, do need to give up coffee more. I got lemon and cucumbers in my hot water. That's my tea. You know what I mean? This morning. And so, yes, you will have to start making small strides in other directions. It's adjustment. It's a pivot move, right? Because we are all facing something right now. That is where you may not want to hear it, but that is where like the year of the horse comes into play, and the year of this comes into play, and the cosmic comes into play, because how those celestial things align do have a great effect on our being, on when we feel angst and tension and stress, when we are living our best lives, when cohesively the world is in chaos, the celestial is in chaos almost, that it does play a part. And I'm not telling you to jump down the rabbit hole of knowing specifically what it is, but just know that it plays a part. And spiritually, we still need to be in tune to know how we move, how we act, how we hear that higher voice that gives us clarity. And once we get all of that, it says the eye is the lamp to the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. What you see and take in, this is critical, because this leads back to that ego state. It's all about me. And so we have to be more aware of ourselves. Make it about you, but make it more about being aware of yourself in the moment, being aware of yourself in the middle of it all. And so I find I'm working toward it, and I've been working toward it, but there are moments, we all have them, where we still need to get back and envision yourself. You say, when you meditate, a lot of people say, I can't sit down and focus and envision myself like that. I can't sit down and focus on that. You're focusing on other things. When you have sexual fantasy, your mind is wandering off. It's imagining. When you envision yourself with that partner, if you're not married and you can envision yourself having a family and kids and children, your mind is wandering off. Now, if that's the right vision, then you keep that hope alive, keep faith alive, keep hope prevalent. But you're envisioning, right? So take the time to slow down and envision yourself strong leadership in conversations. Envision yourself strongly communicating. Envision yourself being able to know when to shut up, because that throat chakra, it is the ability to know and discern. We have so many times, and myself included, it's like, I'm just itching to say something. I'm itching to say something. And a lot of times I'm proud now because I can walk away and be like, I just kept quiet. But there are some times where I still end up talking. You know what I mean? Because I'm a talker and it is in me. It's not to be mean. It's not to be rude. I talk. And even I know sometimes I talk too much. It's a work in progress. What is your area? Because you can fault me for talking too much, but yours is somewhere. It's somewhere. Are you spending too much? Are you moving too fast? Are you chaotic in your mind? You take the time to meditate and take these practices in so that you can envision yourself. Practice today. Over the weekend, practice road rage. Even if you don't get angry to run and hit them, practice when somebody cuts you off, fleeting. God bless them. Change the music. Hone into what you're listening to. That's why I change the music in the car, because it is a practice to not let my soul get irritated when somebody cuts me. I'm hands down serious. I am the person that if I was rich, I would have ran into the back of somebody's car by now intentionally just to ruin their day. I'm being so honest. I was that person. And sometimes it makes me that mad that I would never do it because I'm not rich and I need my insurance and things keep going up. But I am the person that in my mind, I am envisioning ramming into the back of your car because you cut me off. I work on that now. And so, like I said, I change what I listen to in the car, and I'm able to just stop and say, God, I'm irritated in this moment. Blessings to them. May they get where they're going. And then I have my days, right? It's a full moon. We'll see what it's like today. But on the most part, I'm able to send them on their way merrily and not let it affect my day, because it caused me to slow down. And we need to slow down and we need to change our perspectives. And so when you get to this place, this is one of the reasons that I love traveling by myself, because I told you all, I got an appointment to get to, so I'm gonna try to keep this quick. But I told you all, we would talk about the ego later. When you get to this state, I love traveling by myself because it really gives me a moment to just really, really meditate, to really, really just be by myself and God and really, really take an overview. But when I go out to restaurants by myself, I go eat by myself. I'll go to the bars by myself. I'll have a drink by myself. I'll go to a cigar lounge. I go by myself a lot. It really gives me a moment to watch and to observe people and to see life from this different angle, to just sit. And if you sit in a restaurant, you can see the couples that are bored out of their mind. You can see the first daters or the new beginning couples that are just trying to be all seen and showboaty, but there may be connection, there may not. I've seen very good conversations that have sparked and they're doing the doggone thing. I've seen, people meet at the bar for the first time and they're trying to get to know each other and it's awkward as hell. I've seen couples that are just there. I've seen families that are loving and caring and they're all into each other. And I've seen families that's just there and everybody's in their phone. I've seen it all. I've seen men ponder talking to a woman and debating in their head whether or not they should do. I have seen it all. And when you take a moment back, it's so easy to get caught up in this world. And this is the hard part and why it's a day-to-day practice, that you stop and just simply be in the moment. That you stop and just simply observe all that's going around you in the moment, at the moment. You're not looking toward the future. You're not looking in the past. We get in our head about how we're going to plan to make this right. We get in our head about how we're going to fix that or take away the shame from the past. When you can remain in the bubble, I am in my head a lot. I'm in my head a lot. I can admit that. And many of you are too, but I can admit it. So here's me admitting my shortcomings so that maybe you can admit yours, at least to yourself, because I'm admitting it for everybody to see if they come across this video. I am in my head a lot. I'm constantly thinking about how I become better at this or how I become better at that or how I stop doing that, or constantly be in the moment. And trust with the third eye that all is well. Remember, I told you it is well with your soul. And we take these meditation practices as a stepping tool and point and guide to remain in the moment. Because the more you remain in the moment, the more you will understand that what is for me will automatically gravitate toward me. What is not for me will flee. And if what is for me comes and it happens to be broken down the line because somebody else's ego came into play, or they could not value me or respect me the way that they needed to in the moment, then in the moment, I'll deal with it in the moment. But we're always planning for how we're going to get somebody told. We're always planning for how we're going to handle this and that. And that is the third eye imagination wandering off to these places that have not been created yet. And so that way, when people come and talk to us, we already got our chip on our shoulder. We already got our defense mechanism up. We already got our way of handling it because we didn't handle it right the first time. When if we just remain in the moment, we can become more curious. We can ask more questions. We can become more observant. We can become more aware of our actions. We can sit back and pause before we respond. All third eye things that lead to what is said in Ephesians. He has so much far greater for you while you are here on earth and heaven as it is joining together. And with this third eye wisdom, we learn how to control ourselves. We learn how to, I don't even want to say be obedient. We learn how to serve ourselves. We learn what is for us, what is not for us, what is good to us, what is not good to us. And we learn it instinctively. Innate instincts is the solar plexus. Innate grounding is pretty much the whole root. We learn it. And it becomes so much more natural for us to do. Remember, it's a work in progress, so don't beat yourself up if you don't get it today. But moving forward, the awareness, the ability to sit and listen to me so that you have the awareness, so that you have the clarity, like I said in the beginning, that is the first step. Now, I have an appointment to get to, so it might be a little later before I post the meditation for this one. So if it doesn't come soon, please don't fault me. Please still love me and be back and welcome and join in. But I will get that out hopefully today. If not, I will get it out tomorrow. And tomorrow we will be up to the crown chakra. So until then, I hope that you all have a beautiful weekend. I hope that you keep inhaling life. I hope that you keep exhaling anything that does not lead to this spiritual clarity that we are trying to gain, and just send love and light into the world. When you sit and meditate now, when you sit and focus on your breathing, just meditate on how you can send love and light out into the world despite what you see the world throwing back. It is okay. It is well with your soul. And there are so many blessings in store for you as you keep moving through your journey. I hope that it is uplifted in a positive one. And until next time, I will see you on the flip side.